Recently I managed to get my hands on the demo for Intravenous, top-down hardcore stealth game. The developer described it as a love letter to older Splinter Cell games. I have played only the first, but I can see the similarities. However, the game stands on its own. When I started the demo, my first impression was, holy shit, there is a lot of buttons and customizations. And all that is a good thing. It gives you a way to customize your experience. You can do a lot of things like going into prone position, melee attack, etc. And there is a button for each action that comes in handy. After you check all the buttons, next is the difficulty. There are 4: easy, normal, true and masochist. All of them have set of rules associated with them: limited save files, health, damage done and received, the noise of drop bodies and many others. There is also auto grab ammo option if you don't wanna do it manually. However, this is against how the game is meant to be played, but still the developer gives you an option. The true difficulty is the way to play according to the developer. After trying it, and normal too, I agree, it offers way more challenging and fun gameplay. However, your mileage may vary. After choosing your difficulty, you do a short tutorial. I suggest don't skip it because it explains the basic movement. Finishing it leads to a loadout menu where you can choose primary, secondary weapon and 3 gadgets. In the demo you have just 2 machine guns, 4 pistols, 2 with silencer, a taser, a knife, empty clip/magazine, EMP gun, motion mine, flashbang and frag grenades and bulletproof vest. All have their stats about noise making, accuracy, how much they slow you down and others. There is plenty to consider. Here is where you essentially choose your playstyle. Are you going guns blazing or you prefer to sneak or mix of both? In the beginning I went for a stealth playthrough, mostly using silence pistol. I found it way more fun to move in the shadows and waiting to strike, however it's way more difficult. Speaking of gameplay, I can describe it as a tense cat and mouse chase. The demo level takes place around the middle of the game and puts you up against 17 trained mercenaries in one big area full of buildings. The game is hard but fair. Prepare to die a lot until you get how things work. Since I wanted to play more stealthily, as I said, I opted for mostly silence pistol playthrough. The interesting part is you don't only count on your weapons but the environments too. There is a lot of interactivity. You can pick lock a breaker box and turn off the lights from there. The NPC will go to have a look and you can kill them. Or use the EMP gun to disable a light. Or you can turn on a sink to grab the attention of the enemy. Or switch off the light in a room. Another way to lure enemies is by making noise by either throwing something like a can or make noise with your microphone. That's actually a pretty cool idea. If you don't have one, there is a separate button for that. The main thing the game looks like it's going for is the noise and light. Everything you do makes a different level of noise and hiding in the shadows gives you a bit of advantage. You have slightly more time to kill an enemy before he spotted you. You're constantly trying to outsmart the NPCs by using all available tools and environments. Sneaking, taking one out with a knife, gun or taser him, and doing this while keeping your eye on your noise and light levels. Once an enemy is down, you can carry him to hide the body or searching for new weapons and ammo. You can now see the similarities with Splinter Cell. Also you can adjust the movement speed of the character with the mouse wheel. One of the things in my opinion that make or break a game like this is the AI. Fortunately, from the demo, I have very good impressions. At first, they have a routine path that they are constantly circling. However, if you distract them, they always come to check. If you don't take the NPC out, he goes back to whatever he was doing. However, killing someone and hiding the body don't guarantee you peace and quiet. You left blood on the ground and the enemies are getting nervous, start moving faster and checking behind their back way more frequently, giving you a less chance to kill them. If you drag the body to hide it, they follow the blood trace you left. I got cornered one time because of this. If you make a loud noise, from shooting for example, all hell breaks loose. Enemies start piling up around the area of the noise, their movement speed becomes even faster and start searching in areas they haven't been before. If they find you, you are 99.99% dead. They are deadly accurate and once they see you, you have very little time to react. Here comes the difficulty setting into play. Higher the difficulty, less time to react. It's not impossible to get away from a tense situation like this, but it's very difficult. Because each weapon has a different level of noise making, this might not happen and you can get away with gunning down someone even with an AK. But this depends if they are nearby some enemies. From the demo, I have very few complaints. The first is some parts of the level. For the most part, you know what is what in the environment, but there are things like containers or something like that doesn't indicate that you are visible if you don't go into a prone position. I learned this the hard way, by dying. This might be because it's just a demo and I hope the full game has a nice tutorial to explain it. This leads me to the next issue. You can't shoot while in prone position. I don't see a reason why. When you finish a level, you are shown how well you did, what you used, etc. The most interesting part is the square that shows your playstyle essentially. In the demo, I didn't see many options for quiet kills besides throwing the knife, punching with him, tasering someone and dragging him somewhere secluded to finish him. However, the taser doesn't have enough ammo to use for the whole map. Also, most of the enemies were moving into couples and I didn't find a way to kill them fast and quiet. All this might be me being bad at the game or because it's a demo, time will tell. Also, you can bash a door to open it and I was hoping this will knock out the enemies, but this was not the case. So this makes me wonder what role this option will play in the full game. One last tip, door interaction is clunky. You can get stuck in an open door. You don't have enough space to go around it. It's honestly a bit annoying. Most of my gripes with the game are nitpicky and probably will be solved in the full release. I hope so. I did 2 playthroughs. One only with silence pistol and a knife, and one gunning down everyone with M4. Both are very fun. Shooting with all weapons is satisfying, and even gunning down is quite tense than you might think. However, I prefer the stealth approach. The cat and mouse play is exhilarating. I spent 3.5 hours with just the demo, and I can easily do more. This speaks how good all aspects of the games are, at least in the demo. Before the video ends, I have to mention the soundtrack. It's just one song playing over and over again in the demo, but it's quite pumping. I'm not very good with the genres, but it's some sort of techno. I really dig it. The game comes out on 26th of July and it will cost around $15. Honestly, I can't wait to see what the whole game has to offer.